After much umming and ahhing and waiting and all the rest, I eventually purchased an Equinox 800. I'm not going to show you the unboxing because there's enough of that, and it's been out a while now for seen loads of unboxing. What I am going to show you today is a few of the things I'm going to do. The two top shafts I'm going to do away with, and I'm going to use a 1 meter carbon fibre shaft. It's about half the weight. I've already put a little bit of tape on here, a bit of masking tape, and I figured out where the top hole is, and it's a 9mm hole that needs to go in the top, and checking with the handle, again it's 9mm and it needs to go there. That hole was only the one surface, this hole is all the way through, both sides. So that's the first job. Second job is I'm going to put a screen protector over the whole display. This isn't so opaque because it's got the protection layer on the back, or the sticky layer that needs to come off. The ones I use have been the Zag, and this I've had it on my 3030 for 2.5 years now, as well as one on the screen in the water and on the beach, and never peeled off. It's been the same one I've put on there, so I'm going to use the same. I've pre-cut this to size with a little paper template which will go around the edge of the whole unit. And the next thing is I'm going to look at sorting out some headphones. I already had a spare set of surf phones from Mal, and I'm going to modify that. I bought a curly cable, I've got the connectors, and I've got the 3.5, and just to sort of show you what I've done with this one, this is the standard M12, and it had the 8 pins in it. I extracted the pins from the unit, and this now slides in there perfectly. And what I will do is put a little bit of resin at the bottom edge to stop it moving around. The only thing I do need to sort out is have a quick look at the wiring. People have told me that the unit checks for headphones and blanks the speaker if it detects headphones. I think there is actually a little bit more going on there, in that it checks the impedance, and if you've got a low impedance headphones, 8 ohm or something like that, it will blank the speaker. But if you've I've got a higher impedance, in this case 50 ohms on these waterproof speakers, if you're using 50 ohms it might not, and I was going to wire them in parallel rather than in series. Again, that was a recommendation of the internet. So a few jobs there to do. I'm going to start the units on charge. I think I'm going to start and drill these holes on here and see if I can get that sorted. Hopefully my battery on my cordless drill is okay, because it was I think it's coming to the end of its life. So I'll come back in a few minutes. One thing I did forget to mention, I'm not going to use the holes going up the shaft on the carbon fibre tube. I'm just going to use a locking mechanism, and in fact I've got a spare one by plugger, and that's sort of free, rods by plugger, and that's a free moving one which will be able to go up and down the shaft. If I find I do need to put a couple of locating holes for the spring clip, then it's easy enough to do that after the event. So putting a little bit of masking tape on stops the drill bit slipping. That's the theory anyway. that drill is blunt. Right, new drill fitted. Better. Go to the top on that one and on there as well. Throw on this one, and I'll start opening that out. Shaft clamp. Just need to put this in. Need to loosen that off slightly. There we go. Right, I've just put the clamp on, give an idea where the coil will be. So I can fiddle with that when I'm in the field. Oops, I need to adjust that. Tighten that up. Things I like to do with the coils, particularly since they're going underwater, just to make them a bit more visible, is paint up the outer edge. I'm using not paint, but something called plastic dip. It's a removable plastic coating, so at any time I can take it off in the future. In fact, you can even reuse it if you put the right solvent on. So I'm going to do this, just go around the edge, and gives me better visibility of where the coil is. I won't bore you with me doing the whole lot there, so I'll stop this now and come back when I finish. Magic of jumping forward with the camera and editing. It's just about done. Take about an hour to dry. If need be, I can touch it up. Any bits that need touching up, it just makes the coil much better visibility in the water when it's when I'm up to my chin or waist or whatever. There we go. Just to leave it there, because otherwise it'll just lift what I've just put down. What I need to do next is just swap the wire across to the other side on that speaker. They have been wired as in series, and I want to wire them as in parallel. Then I can connect up this connector, and I plan to use that as the earth, and then the two what would normally be left and right short out, but I'll still use both wires. And on this side I'll bring both wires up through into the headphone housing and connect up to the wires. The other thing I will do is on the where the terminals are is use some hot melt glue sticks just to stop the anything travelling up the cables that shouldn't. If I do get water in the headphones, I don't want water going up inside the sleeving. And I'm going to double heat shrink this, so I'll be heat shrinking this over the nut, and then a little bit of more heat shrink just over the end of that once that's shrunk down. Trying to make it a really watertight seal. The other thing I'm just doing is just putting a tie wrap on here to stop the cord, pull it down, and I'll put some hot melt on that bit there as well, so that's all tight and snug. Well, I've just soldered that on there and soldered that on there, and I just need to extend some wires around so that I can go from here to there to there. So I'm going to go and do that now. I've connected everything up. Guess it's time to test it. I've just noticed the detector has finished charging, so that's a good timing. So let's go and try it. Detector on. I've just got to squeeze out all the bubbles. Before I start with the headphones, I figured out what needs to be done. So there's the 3.5mm jack, and it's got two bands. So normally what used to be old-fashioned term, tip and ring. So the connectors on there, 1, 2, 3. Third one, this one is the shield. Then you got, I'm not sure which way around it is, but you've got left and right. So the way I've done it is there's the headphone speakers. So that goes to negative, that goes to negative, and left to one side and right to there. So make sure you keep the phasing correct, or otherwise you'll get all sorts of spatial anomalies. Things will appear in a strange way. Other things I've did this morning, I just gave another quick coat of the yellow plasti dip and had a quick look at the screen protector. That's dried on, so that actually covers the whole keypad, the display, all in one go, so hopefully that will stay in place nicely. Next job is to seal up the headphones and the socket. Use a glue gun to seal up the connectors on this side, and a little bit of silicone to seal up the gap between the body. There we go. So it's pretty snug, but just going to put a little bit of glue in there to hold that in place, and then by the time it's all locked down it won't move and water can't get in. I'm going to use the heat shrink to seal the cables. So I've sealed up the connector, so I just got to do the heat shrink on that. Just tighten up a little bit more on there. Don't over tighten it, and I put some hot melt glue over the wires. That will protect the joins and stop any water that gets inside the headphones from going down inside the cable. So I'll continue doing that, and I'll pop the headphones back together again. Right, well, the headphones are back together. I've just tested them and they work fine, so the only job now is to do the heat shrink. Great, these hot air guns. Use it for loads and loads of things. So it's got a variable heat setting, so can be used from gentle warming, in fact just blowing air, through to taking paint off. I'm using 4:1 heat shrink with a glue surface on the inside, so it sticks nicely. And then the extra here, should have waited a second. That shrunk slightly. Should have waited a second before putting that on. Let me just put that on cooling for a second. Cool that down, and I can slip that over. Hopefully it hasn't shrunk too much on there. There we go. This will stop any water penetrating through the back side of the cable. That's the theory anyway. Trouble is, water gets everywhere. Let's turn that back up and shrink. That's on. Always work from the stuck surface to an open end. If you do it the other way, you'll end up with a big air bubble inside the heat shrink, which is no good at all. There we go. Final job before finishing this setup the way I want it is just put a little bit of Teflon tape on the thread, so if any water does manage to get down past the thread, then that protects the connector inside. So there we go. Plug that in and do a final test.